Has the opposing counsel ever won the case for you? I thought I was doomed when Harrison and Associates took my personal injury case to trial. They had unlimited resources, a team of 12 lawyers, and a reputation for crushing small-town attorneys like me. I was just a solo practitioner fighting for my client, Maria, a single mom who'd been seriously injured when a city bus ran a red light. The city's insurance company had offered us $15,000 to settle. Maria's medical bills alone were $47,000. We had no choice but to go to trial, even though I'd never faced a firm like Harrison and Associates before. Their lead attorney was Vincent Harrison III, a man who wore his arrogance like an expensive cologne. During depositions, he'd interrupted me constantly, objected to everything, and treated Maria like she was faking her injuries. Your Honor, he'd say with that condescending smile. Opposing counsel seems confused about basic civil procedure. The guy was smart, I'll give him that, but he was also the most insufferable human being I'd ever encountered in a courtroom. Trial started on a Monday morning. Harrison arrived with 3 associates, all carrying matching leather briefcases and looking like they'd stepped out of a law firm commercial. I had my beat-up laptop bag and a prayer. During opening statements, Harrison painted Maria as a money-grabbing opportunist who'd barely been injured. He had charts, PowerPoint presentations, and a video reconstruction of the accident that somehow made it look like Maria had jumped in front of the bus on purpose. Then it was my turn. I had medical records, photos of Maria's injuries, and her heartbreaking testimony about missing work while recovering. Simple, honest, but nothing flashy. The first 2 days were brutal. Harrison's medical expert testified that Maria's injuries were minor and temporary. Their accident reconstruction specialist claimed the bus driver had followed all proper procedures. I was getting demolished by their parade of expensive witnesses. But here's where Harrison's ego became his weakness. On Wednesday morning, he called the bus driver to testify. Now, I'd interviewed this driver, Pete Rodriguez, months earlier. Pete was nervous, English wasn't his first language, and he'd admitted to me that he'd been looking at his phone when the light changed. But he'd refused to put that in writing. Harrison strutted up to Pete like he was about to deliver a knockout punch. "Mr. Rodriguez," he began, his voice dripping with superiority. "You followed all traffic laws on the day of this incident, correct?" Pete nodded nervously. "Yes, sir." "And you were paying complete attention to the road?" Well, Pete hesitated. That's when Harrison made his fatal mistake. Instead of stopping while he was ahead, his arrogance took over. He wanted to humiliate Pete, to show everyone in that courtroom how superior he was. "Mr. Rodriguez," Harrison continued, his voice getting louder, "surely a professional driver like yourself wouldn't be distracted by something as trivial as a cell phone while operating a city bus." The color drained from Pete's face. I wasn't supposed to." "Speak up, Mr. Rodriguez. Were you or were you not using your phone?" Pete looked terrified. The courtroom was dead silent. Harrison had just asked the one question I'd been praying someone would ask. "I was looking at a text from my wife," Pete whispered, "just for a second. I didn't see the light change." The courtroom erupted. Harrison's face went from smug satisfaction to pure horror as he realized what he'd just done. He'd gotten his own witness to admit negligence. "No further questions," he mumbled, practically fleeing back to his table. I stood up slowly. "Your Honor, I think Mr. Harrison just proved our case for us." The jury deliberated for exactly 47 minutes. They awarded Maria $380,000. As we packed up, Harrison approached me, his expensive suit looking somehow deflated. "How did you know he'd admit that?" I smiled and closed my laptop bag. "I didn't, but you just couldn't resist showing off, could you? Sometimes the best strategy is just letting your opponent's ego do all the work for you."